I lost a soccer bet and was forced to do it. Okay, think about that for a second. That ridiculous excuse, that was the actual official statement given to Japanese police by an American tourist who decided to literally break into a zoo. Yeah, you heard me right. A full-grown adult trespassed into a restricted animal enclosure and seriously tried to blame it on a soccer bet. But as we're gonna see, the true story is a whole lot more complicated and honestly a lot more concerning. The sheer speed and, frankly, the absurdity of this break-in is just staggering. Okay, picture this. It's exactly 10:50 a.m. at the Ichikawa Zoo in Chiba Prefecture, Japan. A man wearing a bright blue suit and a giant plush smiley face emoji mask literally jumps the outer wall of the monkey enclosure. Just 1 minute later, at 10:51, he's dangerously dangling over a sheer concrete barrier. By 10:52, he just drops down directly into the enclosure, totally invading the animal's space. He wanders around for a bit before zookeepers sprint in and finally apprehend him at 10:55. I mean, it sounds like a cartoon, right? But the reality on the ground was absolutely no laughing matter. We really have to keep the real-world impact in mind here. When this guy dropped in, he didn't just, break a few rules. He completely terrified the residents. 50 macaque monkeys, totally startled by this massive blue-suited, giant-headed intruder, immediately fled upwards, just huddling together in sheer fear. I mean, this is their home, right? It's their safe space, and it was completely violated for the sake of a stunt. And you might be wondering, why this specific enclosure? Well, the intruders were looking for a very specific, incredibly famous resident. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is who they were actually looking for. Meet Punch the monkey. Punch is a mega popular internet sensation, and honestly, it's pretty easy to see why. His life is basically the ultimate underdog narrative. He was tragically abandoned by his mother as a baby and then bullied by the other monkeys. So how did this little guy cope? He found an orangutan plushie that's literally bigger than he is, and he carries it everywhere. The internet absolutely fell in love with him. People travel from all over the world just to catch a glimpse of Punch holding his toy. But that immense viral fame, it's exactly what put a massive target on his back. So why did this wild break-in actually happen? Well, when we contrast the official police statement with what internet sleuths dug up, we see a huge discrepancy. Like we said earlier, one of the intruders claimed it was all just a bad soccer bet. But reporters quickly picked up on something else. That specific smiley face emoji mask, it's heavily associated with an online group that promotes meme coin cryptocurrencies. In fact, a group posting online under the name The Meme Coin Cult even acknowledged the whole stunt, saying they knew it was carried out by one of their community members. So yeah, this wasn't just some drunken mistake. It has all the hallmarks of a highly calculated stunt, strictly for online clout and crypto promotion. And thankfully, there are real legal consequences for this kind of reckless clout chasing. The two men involved, identified as 24-year-old Reed Janaya Dason, who was actually wearing the suit, and 27-year-old Neil Jabari Duane, who was filming the whole shebang, were both arrested. They literally had to be physically dragged out by zookeepers and were handed straight over to the police, where they were charged with forcibly obstructing zoo operations. But, this is exactly where the story shifts. It is so easy to look at the guy in the goofy blue suit and think, okay, weird, but it's just an isolated incident. But it's really not. This bizarre, meme-fueled break-in, it's genuinely just the tip of the iceberg. What we are seeing globally, and particularly in Japan right now, is that this intense viral animal fame has created a severe, systemic crisis for the actual physical zoos that house these animals. Just take a look at the incredibly toxic side of this viral zoo fame. At the Ichikawa Zoo, fans of Punch the Monkey started developing this bizarre, obsessive, parasocial relationship, not just with the monkey, but with the people who raised him. Crowds would literally go to the monkey enclosure, completely turn their backs to the animals, and just obsessively film the zookeepers for hours on end. And then they started posting these unauthorized videos of the staff online. It got so completely out of hand that people were spreading fake, AI-generated photos of the employees, doxing them, and actively harassing everyday workers whose only job is to scoop food and take care of macaques. I want you to really listen to this plea from one of the zookeepers on the ground. They said, being treated like an idol is nothing but a burden. You really truly have to feel for these humans. I mean, they didn't sign up for internet stardom. They signed up to be animal caretakers. Yet out of nowhere, they're finding their faces plastered all over social media. They're being subjected to wild rumors,
and their daily work is being completely disrupted by people desperate for just a tiny crumb of viral content. And look, if you think the harassment of Punch's caretakers is bad, it gets so much worse when things don't go perfectly. To really understand this, we have to look at a second, deeply tragic incident that recently occurred at Zuraja, which is another famous zoo located in Yokohama. This incident perfectly reveals the terrifying extent of online mob mentality when internet fame collides with the very fragile reality of biology.
21, that was the age of a deeply beloved male polar bear named Go. Go was incredibly popular, always drawing massive crowds to his enclosure. Now, recently, the zoo needed to transfer Go to another facility in Tokushima for breeding purposes. Because he was this massive 21-year-old apex predator, the only way to safely move him was under anesthesia. But tragically, while he was under, his own immense body weight pressed down on his lungs, restricting his oxygen. And despite the vet team doing absolutely everything right, Go went into cardiac arrest and passed away an hour later. It was a completely devastating, totally unpredictable medical tragedy. Public outpouring of grief right after was just immense. In a single day, over 20 heartfelt memorial letters were dropped into a box at his enclosure. People were literally crying, leaving messages saying things like, "Thank you," and "You'll always be in our hearts." The public truly, deeply loved this animal. But in the age of the internet, that kind of deep, passionate love can turn toxic with terrifying speed. And this brilliantly illustrates the dark side of that devotion. Instead of just mourning, the internet mob decided they needed a villain. Fans started aggressively blaming the zoo, claiming that because Go was 21, the anesthesia was way too risky, completely ignoring the veterinary experts who were desperately trying to explain the medical reality. The grief was basically weaponized. The faces and real names of the zoo staff were posted online without any permission. The staff faced severe, relentless online defamation and harassment, literally being accused of murdering a beloved animal. It got so incredibly bad and so threatening that the zoo had to publicly announce they were considering legal action just to protect their traumatized employees. So what is the core conflict here? What does all this mean for the future? Well, zoos are having a pretty profound realization. The digital obsession with their animals is making the physical reality of running a zoo incredibly dangerous. It's a massive double-edged sword. Sure, the viral fame brings in ticket sales and tons of attention, but it also brings in clout chasers in blue suits dropping out of the sky and massive internet mobs ready to completely destroy a veterinarian's life over a tragic medical complication. To regain control, these facilities are being forced to completely change how we experience wildlife. Just look at the concrete steps Ichikawa Zoo is taking right now to protect Punch and their staff. They are installing heavy intrusion prevention nets, they're adding permanent security patrols, they are physically moving the viewing areas further away from the enclosures, which means everyday families get a much worse view of the animals. And honestly, the saddest part? They are strongly considering a total and complete ban on photography. A few bad actors chasing likes and crypto clout are literally ruining the entire experience for everyone else. Which brings us to a really vital question, and it's one I want you to just sit with today. As we all endlessly scroll through our feeds looking at cute animal videos, laughing at macaques carrying plushies, or marveling at these majestic polar bears, what is the true cost of our social media feeds? Are we genuinely loving these animals, or are we just consuming them as content? And perhaps more importantly, what happens to the real human standing just outside the frame? Thank you so much for exploring this with me today. It's a heavy topic for sure, but an absolutely crucial one. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I will see you on the next explainer.